Walt Disney World has entertainment for literally everyone. From musicals to sing-alongs to comedies to fireworks, there is more entertainment than you could ever dream of. But what are the best shows? Find out today on Walt Disney World Adults Only. Welcome Royal Highnesses, I'm Dan and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today we're going to be talking about the best shows at Walt Disney World, and the whole team are here to tell you their personal favourite. Some of them are a little bit questionable. Yes, Helen is here, but I'm really interested to find out why these shows are special to each presenter, and I hope you're interested to find that out too. It is fair to say that there is a show of sorts for every single guest. And planning this video has made me realise just how much entertainment there is across Walt Disney World. For me personally, my mind immediately went to the nighttime entertainment shows, to the fireworks and to the Festival of Fantasy Parade. It then darted across the Festival of the Lion King, Eat to the Beat style concerts at Epcot, the Broadway quality Finding Nemo show, comedy at Monsters Inc, and then onto the Indiana Jones Stunt show at Hollywood Studios. Adding things like the Star Wars live shows, the classic Tiki Room, Reflections of China, Hoop-de-Doo, and there are more entertainment shows at Walt Disney World than I can even recall. Even if I sat here all day, I wouldn't be able to list them all. But today we're going to talk about our personal favourites. Before we get started, please click subscribe and then tell me in the comments below what is your number one favourite show at Walt Disney World. Please tell me why. Let's start with Natalie. Natalie, tell us what is your favourite show at Walt Disney World?
Thanks, Dan. I'm going to be talking about the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. This show is found in Hollywood Studios in the Echo Lake part of the park. The show first opened in 1989 and has been running since. There are several shows throughout the day, so there's always one that you can watch, and the shows last approximately 30 minutes. The show captures the fun and adventure of Indiana Jones and the films, which is one of the main reasons why I like this show. It's always a little bit different as well. The show opens with Indiana Jones himself in the Peruvian temple that is in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it shows him doing several of his stunts, avoiding spears coming up from the ground, and the climax of the scene is him escaping the giant boulder. At this point, when you think Indiana is a goner, the scene cuts and you realise that they're filming for scenes for the movie. The show is all about how the scenes and stunts are put together to create the big spectacle that comes to life on screen. This show features audience participation quite heavily, and it's one of the reasons why it's a little bit different each time. Now, although I've seen this show a lot, and it's a must-do every time I visit Walt Disney World, I've never dared to put my hand up to participate as a member of the audience. I don't want to completely give the game away for the audience participation section of the show, but it's really good fun, and it's not quite as simple as you think it's going to be. After audience members are selected to join in the show, the scene moves on. The next scene is a busy market scene in Cairo, where Indiana is joined by Marion. Along with members of the audience, Indy and Marion are chased through the busy market scene, and this scene features some pyrotechnics, lots of acrobatics, and lots of stunts and free falls. The third and final scene of the show is the infamous battle against the plane for Indy and Marion as they try to stop the Ark being flown to Berlin. This is my favourite scene of the show, as it really does feature the plane, and it's a bit of an edge of your seat moment as you're not entirely sure if Indy will actually win. Of course he does though. This scene has lots of pyrotechnics, lots of stunts, and even some gun battles as well. But of course, Indy always manages to save the day. This show is a must-do for every trip that I take to Walt Disney World, as I find it's just so much fun and full of action and adventure. It really does capture the essence of the films, with all their fun, action and adventure, and a little bit of romance as well. My top tip for the show would be to visit the little drinks cart outside and get a beer or a cocktail to enjoy while you watch the show. What about you, Leanne? Are you an Indiana fan?
Thanks, Natalie. I've seen Indiana Jones. It's not one of my favourites. For me, once you've done it once, you've done it. My favourite show is the Festival of the Lion King, based in Africa in the Animal Kingdom. The show lasts around 30 minutes. Once you've either used a fast pass or queued up to get into this show, the theatre is split up into 4 sections, which when you start watching the show, you'll understand why. Once everybody's in and seated, the show begins. 4 floats come out from between each of the 4 sections. Elephant, giraffe, lion, which is Simba, warthog is Pumbaa. The show gets you to interact with it as well. That's why you split into your 4 sections. Each section has their own call. I have 2 favourite parts of this show. One is when the monkeys are doing acrobatics. It's so entertaining to watch. I just wish I could be able to do it too. The second is when 2 performers come out and are performing to Can You Feel the Love Tonight. The female is spun round the arena. It's such a beautiful performance. Throughout the entire show, if you're lucky enough to be chosen, some of the audience is also brought down and brought into the show. It's just an upbeat, fun, enjoyable time out of the Florida sun. You can use a fast pass to get into the Festival of the Lion King, and if you do want to go, I would recommend it. The queue can get awfully long and you can end up sat right at the back. Getting that fast pass means you sat in one of the front rows and you're more likely to be chosen to get up and interact. This is one of my must-dos when you visit Animal Kingdom. Not only do they have acrobatics, they also have people on stilts, dancing, singing, and they are all amazing. Carol, I know you love the Animal Kingdom shows. What do you think of the Festival of the Lion King?
Thanks, Leanne. While I do enjoy the Lion King, I would have to say it might be my second most favorite show. My favorite show is also at Animal Kingdom, however, and it's the Finding Nemo musical. Finding Nemo had sort of a soft opening in November of 2006, and many changes were made during that time before their official opening January 24th, 2007. It runs about 40 minutes and it seats about 1,500 people, so it's a big crowd soaker, and they have shows 4 to 6 times a day. What's interesting to me about this show, and probably what makes it my favorite, is the use of both puppets and being able to see the puppeteers work the puppets. So normally when you see something with puppets, the puppeteers are hidden away and you just have to rely on the expression of the puppets to see what they're trying to say. Here, these puppets are giant. Some of the puppets actually require 2 or 3 puppeteers working in tandem together. And so you don't just get the stuffed creature puppet, you actually get the person working the puppet. And as they move the puppet, you see their emotions. They're not only puppeteers, but they're actors. So you're sort of getting a 2-for-1 deal. And it is just so cool when you're sitting, especially in the front section, with the stage coming out towards you, and you look up and not only do you see Nemo staring at you, but the puppeteer smiling down at you at the same time. And I think that's one of the things that really, really makes this special. The other thing interesting about this show is that the movie itself, Finding Nemo, was not a musical. So when they turned it into a show, they had to come up with the songs for it. And the composers of these songs were the same composers that did Frozen and several other musicals for them. There's 14 original songs made just for this production, and it really is akin to a Broadway production you are seeing at Disney World. Probably the most famous song that you'd recognize, even if you haven't been to the musical, is Big Blue World, that you hear in the Finding Nemo ride. They took advantage of the fact that the songs that they had from the musical they could use on the attraction over at Epcot. Aside from that, I love the story of Finding Nemo. And they had to take a feature film and condense it to about 30 to 40 minutes, which was a feat in itself. And you still get a whole story, even if you've never seen the movie, you could get a sense of what the story is about. I would have to say that's one of my favorite shows in all of Disney World. Now, Taylor, I know you like the shows at Animal Kingdom, but I'm thinking your favorite might be Magic Kingdom?
You're right, Carol. I do love the shows in Animal Kingdom. They are so fantastic. But my favorite show in Disney World is the Festival of Fantasy. This show is actually a daytime parade that happens once a day in the Magic Kingdom, and it debuted in March of 2014. Obviously, there are no full parades happening because of COVID, but hopefully this parade returns because it's so good. And when it does, you can catch it anywhere in Frontierland. It then turns down into Liberty Square, goes in front of the castle before rounding the hub and heading down Main Street. So there are so many places that you can view this parade. It's so great. The floats in this parade are so beautiful, and you can see so many characters. The parade floats include the Princess Garden, Tangled, The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, Brave, Sleeping Beauty, including the amazing fire-breathing dragon, and the finale, which has Mickey's airship. Right now, you can even see some of these floats still. They use them for the character cavalcades, and those cavalcades follow the same parade route as the Festival of Fantasy. When this parade was happening, it was called the 2 o'clock parade, so you could see it every day at 2. And I recommend getting a spot nice and early. My favorite place to watch the parade is right on Main Street, and if you get on the correct side, you can even be in the shade, which is really important if you are sticking out that spot for quite some time. I don't know why I love this parade so much. I think it's really fun to see all the characters, and the costumes are so beautiful. The dancers are phenomenal, and I think what really draws me in is the music. I spend the rest of the day singing Festival of Fantasy. You're welcome for singing. And then once the parade ends, if you're on Main Street, you can head right towards the castle, and there is, within a few minutes, probably going to be a castle stage show. Obviously, they have torn down and rebuilt this stage, so for the 50th anniversary, I would expect something new, but Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair is a really great show as well. So when this parade returns, make sure you get that prime spot on Main Street or in Frontierland. Any spot is great to see it. And wave hello to Merida and Mickey and all of the wonderful performers in this parade. It is definitely a must-do on my list. Now, poor Helen has taken quite a lot of stick from Dan about her choice, but it is her favorite, and I will let her tell you about it. Helen?
Thanks, Taylor. I really don't understand why Dan doesn't like Country Bears Jamboree. What's not to like, right? Country Bears Jamboree was one of the very last attractions that Walt Disney personally helped develop. This was an opening day attraction back in 1971 and has been performed daily ever since in Magic Kingdom. As you step inside this rustic theatre known as Grizzly Hall, look down before you take your seat and check out all the claw marks and scratches on the floor from the critters who've gone before you. Once inside the theatre, you'll sit on long benches, and they're not the most comfortable, to be honest. Most of the characters are redneck bears performing country music who rise up on the stage on platforms, descend from the ceiling and appear from behind curtains. The audience includes audio animatronic animal heads mounted on the walls who interact with the characters on stage. Fun fact, there's actually 18 bears that perform in the show. The show is basically a continuous string of country songs, performed by the various bears. As each pair sings their song, a curtain opens to reveal them, except in the case of Wendell, Gomer and the Sunbonnet Trio, all of whom rise from the centre stage, and my favourite, Teddy Barra, who descends from the ceiling. My favourite songs are If You Can't Bite, Don't Growl, My Woman Ain't Pretty But You Don't Swear None, and All the Guys That Turn Me On, Turn Me Down. You have to listen to the lyrics, they're absolutely hilarious. This show may not be to everyone's taste, but you must see it at least once, even if it's just to take advantage of the air conditioning. You'll find this attraction in Frontierland, and the show lasts approximately 16 minutes. Back me up, Jackie. Do you love Country Bears Jamboree too?
Thanks, Helen. I only like the Country Bear Jamboree for the cushy seat and the air conditioning on hot days. One of my favorite shows is at Epcot. I fell in love with Illuminations back in 1992. It was a 4th of July spent at Epcot with my family, specifically my grandparents and aunt and uncle. It contains a lot of special memories. I honestly think this is the only time my grandparents were ever at Disney World. We unfortunately lost my grandpa a few years later, so Illuminations hold a really special place in my heart, and I'm glad to have those memories of the time spent at Epcot with him. Epcot has had quite a few shows since its opening in 1982. There was Le Carnaval de Lumière in 1982, A New World Fantasy in 1983, Laserphonic Fantasy in 1984, and finally the first iteration of Illuminations that started in 1988 and ran until 1996. Illuminations was even modified for holidays and celebrations, for such things as Christmas, the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and the Millennium Celebration. Illuminations Reflections of Earth was the longest running show at Epcot. It ran from October 1st, 1999 to September 30th of 2019. It was originally part of the Walt Disney World Millennium Celebration, but continued on for the next 20 years. Illuminations is begun by lighting all the torches around World Showcase. I always love seeing this. The first act, Chaos, represents the creation of Earth. This is also when they bring out the Earth Globe Barge, the centerpiece of Illuminations. The final act, Meaning, shows images of unity from around the world. It's celebrated, of course, with fireworks, and at the end, the globe opens up to reveal a unity torch. As usual, Disney ends with a bang and the torches are relit around the World Showcase. The most recent show, Epcot Forever, debuted on October 1st of 2019. This is a filler show between Illuminations and the new Harmonius show. I was able to see Epcot Forever back in November of 2019. Was it Illuminations? No. It was a nice show that gave nod to the past, present, and future of Epcot. My favorite part of the show was the LED kites. There was just something magical about them. Unfortunately, due to COVID, this show was cut short and there are currently no nighttime shows at Epcot. At the moment, Harmonius does not have a debut date. I'm excited to see this new show, but I have to say Illuminations will always hold a special place in my heart. You're a big Epcot fan, Courtney, mostly drinking, but are these shows for you?
Thanks, Jackie. I do love a great day at Epcot, and the nighttime shows that they've had are definitely noteworthy, and I am super excited to see what Harmonius brings. But for my favorite show, we're actually going to go over to the Magic Kingdom. In Tomorrowland at Magic Kingdom sits Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. This show attraction joined Disney on April 2nd of 2007. The premise of this show is a play off of the first movie, Monsters, Inc., and that is We Need to Power Monstropolis. Now, in the movie, we know they converted from scream energy to laugh energy. So, this is a comedy show starring Mike Wazowski, and we need to fill an energy tank up. What I love about this show is the audience participation. And some of the participation from the audience is not volunteer. In fact, none of it is. There are video cameras everywhere, and one thing I have learned is no seat is safe. They will randomly select members of the audience to be a part of the comedy show. This show runs for about 10 minutes, so there is a good chance you or somebody you came with is going to be a participant. Now, some of the jokes are just harmless fun, and they put you up on the big screen with a little note at the bottom of, this guy's gonna buy everybody churros at the end. Or one of my favorites is when somebody is wearing one of those bucket hats to keep the sun out of their face, but they kind of say that this is what happens when a human meets a lampshade. So funny. I kind of feel bad for those people, but at the same time, it's like, who would not laugh at that? Because it's true. So this show works as a comedy show, and different acts will take the stage and involve audience participation in different ways. Some people will just have their image put up on the big screen, and some people will actually be given a microphone to be involved. And of course, every show has that guy. I've had experience traveling with that guy. My dad is always selected to be him, no matter where he sits. Kinda odd, but it happens. Like I said, no seat is safe. It does not matter if you are 1 or 100. You will laugh at this show at least once. I have gone in several times, and every show, although they are all different, always make me laugh. And let's face it, if you're not laughing and having a good time at Disney, why are you even there? While you're waiting in the queue, you have an opportunity to submit jokes of your own that may be featured in the show. There is a number that you can text your joke to, and just to make sure that you are in the theater, if your joke is selected, there's a subject word that you have to include in the message. There are subjects such as roar, scary, or something monstrous like that. Well, Dan, we have quite a wide range of tastes here. Some really interesting choices. Aren't you gonna share with us yours? My guess is it has something to do with princesses.
Princesses? I'm not even gonna ask. But Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor is a really cool show. It's so well done. For me, I love so many shows, but I'm going to have to say Happily Ever After is my number one. It is highly emotive and epitomises everything that I love about Walt Disney World. The music, the projections, the fireworks, the lasers, it is just everything. It is so poignant and so special, and it showcases some of the greatest adventures that our favourite characters have taken to achieve their dreams. I did adore Wishes, and when I heard it was being replaced, I was kind of first world problem devastated, but I gave Happily Ever After a try, and I have to say that I absolutely fell in love with it. So this is an 18-minute show, and you need to get your spot early. It gets so packed that you can sometimes barely move. The projections on the castle are better than any I've ever seen, and this is a true celebration of Disney animation, and the score combines the talents of so many wonderful artists. It is just magnificent. Happily Ever After debuted in May 2017, and I was lucky enough to get to see it the same year. It was actually breathtaking, and on that one trip I went to see it 4 times. And it features some of my absolute favourite Disney songs. Go the Distance from Hercules, I See the Light from Tangled, How Far I'll Go from Moana, and Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid. Well, it is amazing, and I'll be so upset if this show doesn't make a comeback before my next trip. There are so many great shows at Walt Disney World, but for me, this is the grand finale of them all. So, there you have it, our favourite shows at Walt Disney World. Please tell us in the comments below which is your favourite show and which of these shows you're going to add to your list. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments as well. We have a brand new favourite series playlist. In this list you'll find videos about our favourite attractions, our favourite resorts, our favourite snacks, and even our favourite breakfasts. Please check that out, I'll link it in the description below.
Thank you for watching our video.
If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up.
And also share it with your friends too.
If you like our channel, please subscribe.
And hit that notification bell so you know when our next video lands.
If you're not a member of our fantastic Adults Only Facebook group, please join today.
Head over where we will continue this discussion and many, many more.
And as always, remember, never grow up.